What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering. I've having a wonderful Tuesday. Lots to talk about today. I'm sure we'll have some hilarious meltdowns from the Joe Rogan, Jordan Peterson episode. We've got Neil Young losing his mind. You know, these old anti-establishment people now becoming pro-establishment people seems like pretty common these days, as we see bands like Rage Against the Machine turn out to be Rage for the Machine. We've got a woke backfire in Snow White. We've got more Netflix failing and a ton more. So if you're new to the channel, please do click that red subscribe button down below the video. It would definitely mean a lot. Now, based on last night, the last headline of the day and early into today is basically Neil Young versus Joe Rogan. I do enjoy Neil Young's music, to be honest. I don't pay money to Spotify. I have his actual records, like vinyl. But I also will play Neil Young on the jukebox when I'm at the pub or something like that. But certainly he has every right to do this, as silly as it is. But Neil Young has demanded Spotify remove all of his music from their streaming service in a now blazing row over quote-unquote misinformation spread, quote-unquote, by Joe Rogan. In an open letter to his manager and record label, telling them to have his catalog taken down by the Heart of Gold singer. That's nowhere near his top 20 songs. But anyway, they can have Rogan or Young, not both. Young hit out at the streaming platform, which offers 72 albums of his work for spreading misinformation. However, making such a demand may be impossible after the singer sold 50% of his catalog to a UK investment fund, reportedly for $150 million. You don't even own it. Surprise! You don't even own your music. And oh, by the way, I don't know how many boomers, I'm not saying that there aren't young people that like Neil Young. I like him. I don't use Spotify, but let's look at the difference here. Okay. Spotify has to pay money to Neil Young every time someone listens to a song. Maybe it's a fraction of a penny, right? That's really about how it plays out. Then you have Joe Rogan, which brings in money, actively driving premium subscriptions on their platform. Is anybody going to quit paying for Spotify Premium if Neil Young is gone? 7 people? Heck, what if it was 700? Or even 7,000? Compared to the 15 million people or so that pay for Joe Rogan's show. It remains unclear whether the split ownership of Young's catalog means he has even any right to make this demand. Mail Online has contacted Hypnosis Songs, Spotify, Joe Rogan, and Neil Young for comment in a now deleted online letter. Maybe somebody told him that he didn't own his own music anymore. He took aim at a comedian podcaster, Joe Rogan, who signed a $100 million deal with Spotify, giving them exclusive rights to his show. With an estimated 11 million listeners per episode, the Joe Rogan Experience, which is hosted exclusively on Spotify, is the world's largest podcast and has tremendous influence rights. Spotify has a responsibility to mitigate the spread of misinformation. Doesn't name any or give any examples, just uses that censorious buzzword. The misinformation word is often attached to, some stretch as a reason to ban content that somebody doesn't like. It's a catch-all term like hate speech, where no one can actually ever really define it, but they know that you did something bad and that you should be banned for it. Neil Young, who's married to Blade Runner actress Daryl Hannah, added, "I want you to let Spotify know immediately, today, that I want all my music off their platform. They can have Rogan or Young, not both. I'm doing this because Spotify is spreading fake information, potentially causing bad problems." Yeah, the guy who's worth $500 million and is actively working for the man. Let's listen to him. "Please act on this immediately today and keep me informed of the time schedule." The letter was addressed to Frank Gironda, Young's manager, Warner Records, which releases his work through Reprise Records. Giranda later confirmed the Daily Beast, adding, "It's something that really important to Neil. He's very upset. We're trying to figure this out right now." He can't. It's just a PR stunt. He doesn't even own the music. Young is not the only artist to pull his music from Spotify. In 2015, Prince also removed his songs in order to negotiate rights to his music. Okay, very different. Prince's music returned in 2017, nearly a year after his passing, because his family wanted to make money off him. Anyway, in 2014, Taylor Swift removed her music from Spotify, claiming the streaming service did not provide enough money to artists. The singer returned to 2017 after she got more money. Again, very different situation. Young's letter is not the first time Spotify has faced criticism for their partnership with Joe Rogan. All these people are finding out pretty quickly, just like they did with Dave Chappelle and Netflix. Sorry, like you don't represent enough money for them to care. You just don't. And you have these like remember all these doctors that came out and Twitter was happy to refer to it as physicians. Then it turned out more than half of them weren't even medical doctors. I mean, who am I supposed to believe? I don't outright, quote unquote, believe everything Joe Rogan says, but I do believe, even if he's wrong in occasions, that Joe Rogan isn't actively trying to lie to me. You know what I mean? Like, there's a difference there. I don't listen to his podcast. I don't have that luxury because, well, I record 25 million videos a day. I used to watch the clips when they're on YouTube, but I don't really see them anymore. But I believe that Joe Rogan doesn't actively seek to misinform, even if something incorrect comes out on his show. And I think that's the major difference. When I look at mainstream media, in my opinion, places like CNN, MSNBC, and even Fox News to a certain extent will actively obfuscate the truth. And that is the kind of misinformation I'm worried about. And you look even here, Jordan Peterson ditches Neil Young in defense of Joe Rogan. Jordan Peterson has come out in support of Joe Rogan after Neil Young demanded that Spotify ditch their most popular podcast for spreading fake information. You see Jordan B. Peterson, "I enjoyed listening to you, Neil. You'll be missed." Peterson was not alone in siding with Rogan. Many criticized Young for his suggestion that the host of the most popular podcast in the world should be silenced. In his letter, Young demanded that Spotify remove his music in protest over the streaming platform decision to continue hosting him. Citing that Joe Rogan's experienced immense reach, he demanded censorship, of course. And it's funny. It's really funny to me that these guys who used to be, so against this stuff. Lauren Chen here. Today, I learned that Neil Young is apparently on Spotify. As Rolling Stone reports, in 2019, Young said he wanted to remove his music from Spotify due to what he deemed to be poor audio quality, but opted to remain because that's where people get music. So this isn't even the first time he's thrown a hissy fit. And quite frankly, I think that Spotify should just remove it. Don't you think? I mean, why not just remove it? You think that internet communists like Hassan are cranking up the needle and the damage done? They're cranking up some deep cuts and B-sides of Neil Young on Spotify? No, they're not. And most of them aren't paying for your service anyway. And none of this is hurting Spotify. Nobody's unsubscribing from Spotify because of Joe Rogan. Not in any real numbers. You know how I can say that confidently? It's because if they were, Spotify would be paying attention. You can look at some of the comments. Neil Young has made some great music. Let him stick to that. Rogan has conversations with people that inform the public and let us decide how to approach controversial or serious issues that affect our life. There's little to no doubt that the public health professions and, quote, science have bungled the handling of everything. Mr. Young is no more qualified to address it than any, quote, Southern man. Joe Rogan also has guests who confidently speak to the benefits of the poke and encourage getting poked. You could pick any single episode and find something to be mad about, but Joe Rogan generally gets both sides of an argument over the course of several episodes and various guests. They even try to quote Wall Street Journal, quote, earlier this month, 270 scientists and healthcare professionals said, funny, a review of the signees showed students and professors made up the bulk of the 270, but never let facts get in the way of the narrative. There is a reason the majority are no longer running out to get any more pokes or take their kids. The censorship of experts, blocking of any dissonant opinion is now known by everyone and has a lot of people asking questions. This is exactly what I talk about. This is exactly the effect that I mean. Sure, you could call it the Streisand effect, but also it's like I always say, sunlight is the best disinfectant. When you're constantly trying to silence them, you better have a perfect record, because if you don't, all you're going to do is add undue credence to the things that they say, add additional authority to the things that they're saying, because you have a track record of being wrong. I fully admit that Joe Rogan has made mistakes, and I also don't listen to literally anybody and accept what they say is truth. So to me, it's not this weird thing. But I think the reason that a lot of these far lefties, not liberals necessarily, but far lefties, they're so programmed to just listen and believe. I mean, that's literally a mantra of theirs from like 2017, 2018, during the Me As Well era. That like, they're not used to critical thinking. So when they hear something on a podcast, they probably do believe it. And that's their own fault, isn't it? Why deprive people of good civil discourse just because you're a moron? Hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.